Hello, welcome back to How to Build a Computer from Scratch for Beginners, the 5-minute guide. If you have any suggestions on how to shorten this long name, please leave a comment below. So this video we're going to talk about RAM, or some people call it memory. For me personally, I call it RAM because memory, I think of long storage, I think of hard drives. So for this video we're going to talk RAM. So if you haven't seen the previous two videos, take a moment to go ahead and watch those. Links above, down in the description. Take a moment to watch those, get kind of a refresher, get up to speed with where we're going. We're going to be talking about RAM. It's going to be one of those things that really doesn't have a tier level. I know I talked a little bit about that with CPUs. This really is kind of, there's levels obviously, depending upon speeds, what you're going to pay for, but we'll kind of talk a little bit more about that in the breakdown later in this video. The biggest factor in RAM is going to be whether or not you picked up Intel or AMD. Intel doesn't really have too much of a variant differences. AMD kind of has some particulars, but again, we'll talk a little bit more of that in the breakdown later in the video. I do want to note that RAM generally has labeled as like DDR 2400 or DDR4 3600. Most of what you're going to probably pick up is going to be DDR4 something. That secondary number is basically its frequency that it's at. There's also going to be a number CL and then a number after it, that's CAS, latency. That has to do with how long it's going to take that data in the frequency to move through the system, get to the processor, whatever it needs to do. Simply, it's just the smaller CL number, generally the lower the latency. It's going to take less time to get through where it needs to go. And again, we'll talk more about that in the breakdown. Before we get to the breakdown, I want to again take a moment, guys. Thanks so much for watching the video up to this point. If you don't mind, please hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell icon to get notified when we have new videos, as well as hitting that thumbs up. Really appreciate it, guys. So now we're going to move on to the breakdown. From what I've tested and seen, Intel doesn't get much of a boost on gaming or productivity when the selected RAM speeds anywhere from like 2400 to 4600. Yeah, there's some minor things. Generally 16, CL16 is a good number to stick with for both Intel or AMD. Whatever frequency you can kind of get that at, and that kind of goes with AMD as well. I have found with some of the testing and stuff that I've done that CL16 seems to be that sweet spot. Most of those you'll find as like a 36, so DDR for 3600 or 3800 is pretty much where you'll find that sweet spot. A lot of digging around that I've done, pretty much that's that nice sweet spot. Anything more, you're going to get a higher CL number, which means it's going to move more data because the frequency is higher. So it's going to move more data, but it's going to take longer because it's having to move more data. So decreasing the frequency on it is actually going to help a little bit more because it's going to take slightly smaller packets to move the data, and that's going to help the latency out. So it's actually going to feel and perform better. I've listed some of the things that we've talked about in the description below. Check them out. Hit me up with any questions or comments. Thanks for watching How to Build a Computer from Scratch for Beginners, the 5-minute guide. We'll see you in the next video.